Good morning all, and welcome to a little Sunday morning stretch. What a beautiful morning. So if you're tuning in and you're watching this video on a Sunday morning, then great, obviously follow through. It'll be a 15-minute just gentle stretch, but if you come across this video and you want to do it at a later date, it will be saved, so feel free to make use of this stretching routine at any time. Just a little disclaimer, this isn't a yoga practice, this isn't any Pilates exercise, so to speak. It's just a simple guide through a series of stretches that are going to help you feeling a little bit looser, particularly if you've had maybe a high stressed, high pressured week at work. So just going to guide you through some stretches and hope you enjoy it. So bring yourself onto all fours to begin with, and we'll just start with some gentle spinal mobilization. Again, if you are used to any yoga practices or anything like that, you may recognize some of them. So as I just stretch through now, I'm just trying to think about each vertebrae as a single block. So working all the way through the lower back, but then also up into the upper back. I'm not doing a set number of reps. I'm simply just going to mobilise until I feel a little bit looser. Now, we often get caught up in just doing what's known as spinal flexion and extension here. So I want you to create a bit of a wavy motion and maybe just rock the hips and turn the shoulders. Do the same on the other way, on the other side. And you'll start to identify little areas of tightness. Well, I couldn't have picked a better morning. The sun is shining and it must already be around about 16-17 degrees at 9:10 in the morning. So again, I'm just using this opportunity just to feel what's a little bit tight, and as you go through this you might find a little area that might need a little bit more work. And although I am a big fan of spinal mobilization through the happy cat, sad cat, I often find that it is just quite one-dimensional, so adding a bit of rotational work and lateral work is really important too. Okay, from here, just simply going to drop the hips down towards the floor, but then lift up, trying to separate the rib cage from the pelvis, or at least create a bit of distance and space, and then just concentrate on my breathing while I'm here. So as I said at the start, if you've had a stressful week at work, this little routine might be just what you're after. With the majority of us working from home at the moment, maybe our hours of working behind a desk are somewhat increased. I know that there's many people that struggle to switch off when they work from home, and it's easy to get back behind the laptop in the evening. Sweeping back through. Again, just drop the pelvis down, lift the chest up. I also know that with working from home myself, that your setup might be significantly different, and you might have your ergonomics set up slightly different in terms of seat height, desk height. You might be sat working from the sofa, kitchen table. then you might have started to notice that your body's positioning slightly different, so therefore you're experiencing a few aches and pains and muscle stiffness. Sit it back again. Again, just use this opportunity to concentrate on your breathing. I'm just going to do this once more. And sit it back. This is also a good little bit of guided practice for those that have absolutely smashed their training this week, maybe training more so now that it may be more accessible to you from training from home, cutting out the journeys to and from the gym. If you've had a tough week of training, whether that be resistance based work or out on the tarmac with running or out on your bike, this little routine might be just what the doctor ordered in terms of resetting and refreshing yourself ahead of what could be another tough week ahead in terms of training. So whilst we're in this position, I simply want us to walk our fingertips to the edge of the mat. You'll feel the increased stretch on one side. And then if we slowly walk our way to the other, I don't prioritise enough of this kind of component of fitness, and I can certainly tell because everything feels tight and I wouldn't necessarily say sore or painful, but every stretch I move into, switching sides again, I certainly feel a stretch at least a 7 or an 8 out of 10. But as with anything, the more you do it, the more comfortable we become. And I'm sure that these 7 or 8s will become 5 and 6s, and that's when it's a good sign to progress. So we'll go back to the other side one last time. Back to centre, and then back up onto all fours. If you want to take one of your feet forward, and we'll just drop into a nice hip flexor stretch. Now what we often find here is we just thrust the hips forwards, but in actual fact it's better if you tuck the tailbone under, get that stretch. The knee that's on the floor, that hand side, so in this case my right hip, I need to squeeze the glutes. And then once those kind of set points or checkpoints are in place, then I can move forward if I need to. But there's certainly no need to just go straight into forward. We can get a good stretch here by using the glutes as a activation. So you should be feeling this down the front of the thigh, which is whatever knee you've decided to put on the floor. So in my case, my right thigh, across the hips. Switch sides. Again, I'm not just going to drop straight forward, I'm going to tuck the pelvis under, activate this glute. Back to the starting leg. Again, as I said before, I'm not doing a certain number of reps each side, I'm just going on feel. Again, concentrate on your breathing, relax your shoulders, just stretch that hip off. Switch sides once again. Again, not just dropping the hip, keeping the glute nice and tight, stretch that hip. Okay, hands back down again. Now I'm going to gently place my foot here so I don't get caught up in the cable, but feet outside of hands, up, and just open up the hip that way. You can drop the back knee down towards the floor, but ideally at this stage we should be keeping it off the floor. And again, just concentrating on your breathing, but this should really open up the hips on both sides. Again, I'm just doing a little bit of movement, just trying not to be too static in my movements, but loosening off what feels tight. Doing the same on the opposite side. Back to that starting leg. Switch legs again. Back onto all fours. This time, left arm, palm facing up. Just rotate through. Turn as much as you can. Rotate through the spine. This is a very good thoracic rotation. You might get a few clicks and clunks. Drop the shoulder towards the floor. Turn through as much as you can. Same on the opposite side, palm facing up. Back to the starting side again, just a couple of reps each side. Last time. And then from here, I'm just going to look after my neck a little bit. So hands onto the top of your head, 2 fingers, top of your head, and just gently pull down and let this arm drop down. So if you are feeling quite tense at the minute, maybe some anxiety, maybe a bit of pressure, maybe a bit of stress, we tend to often stack it up in our back, neck and shoulders. Switch sides. I'm going to go back to the starting side, but this time, excuse that wasp, this time I'm just going to turn the chin down so my fingers just make their way towards the back of my head. So chin's tucked down. I'm going to get a slightly different stretch here. And the same on the other side, so hands make their way towards the back of the head somewhat, turn the chin down, pull it down, and then again separate and stretch. Loosen it off. Couple of shoulder rolls in one direction, a few clunks, cracks, clicks, opposite way. Loosen off. And there you have it. It's starting to feel a little bit looser, decompressed, a bit less stressed. Have a great Sunday.